Once a friend thought I was many things I thought I was not. Shilo recognized the yearning. She saw the web of it all and traced rivers. She offers care and guidance through a vision. We dreamed, traced, and puttered. Little did we know how saturated we would all become. 2 nights and 4 days with Mountain, painting bear. Alone, but visited. Carry little food, but be fed. I want to offer myself to Mountain and bear, to pry this narrow heart open, to abandon it to wildness and transformation. This pilgrimage is a commitment to land. Firekeeper and I climb mountain, feral terrace terrain, we scramble on. We climb with an offering to Bear's family, a piece of leg from bull moose. Firekeeper carries Bear's food, and I look for portals. An offering is made just under the peak amongst pearly everlasting, and an unraveled basket woven in Shilo's sorrow for missing women. An offering with a message of hope and grief. Birches as bridges between worlds and the sweetness of time spent with Firekeeper. Puffballs with potion green spores, clouds of enchantment. We descend back to camp, disorientated, carrying a witch's broom and a birch burl. At camp we make fire and sleep in the Labrador tent. The brook forks into 2 bodies, one of grief, one of gratitude. They reunite as one downriver. The moment a woman becomes a mother, she belongs to the world. She no longer can stay in hiding and has to face a facade of complexities. But she is not afraid. Bear is mother. Preparation for life-giving. Becoming 2 embody. She is stretched and suspended in the woods. Do not meet her in fear. Meet imminence in breath. You could say this story began with a deep yearning to paint Bear. My heart ached, the moon mourned, the mountain called. At the time I couldn't say for sure I knew who I or the wild god was. I knew I was afraid. I couldn't say for sure if I had been invited into the house of the wild god, or if I had invited myself in. There were stories I had told myself that said I wasn't a trespasser, that in some way I belonged. Yet it's impossible to ignore the fracture. Is the wild god welcome in your home? The stories tell us so. Fear the people, fear the water, fear Bear. This story defies told boundaries. There are no lines between human and non-human. It is Bear in motion, a collision of worlds. The yearning heart that moved a fearful mind to grow the garden, to climb the steps, to embrace the friendship, to enter the wood, to follow river, to cross the threshold. I knew Bear was in the wound. The kids, Raccoon and I traced the brook to river. We portage Bear down from camp like a canoe. The ferns hold the weight while we rest and rejoice. We trespass through the dry grass, along the borders of fields and past compost piles. Along the way, we are told there is no access to river. All owned. There are cameras. So sorry. What can you do? I have a sensible solution. Go anyway, and teach the children how to navigate misconceptions of owned land. We visit the mouth where brook flows into river. We collect the squishy, silty body of brook and leave quartz and gratitude in the heart of this transitional space. Brook is bare submerged. Water is vulnerable. Mountain carries water through bare. Embodiment follows saturation. The waters infuse sacredness. We swim, worship, and drink too. Woman bears constant sorrow of loss, death, transformation, birth. We collect the potent medicines of sap from the fur that drink from brook. We travel upstream, our hands, tools, and hearts are sticky with acceptance and belonging. Raccoon and I collect grass seed and ferns made crispy by the touch of frost. These are the ingredients for mixing cob. Mixing cob is a ritual for commitment to land and each other. Other medicines and detritus are gathered too. Sage, dried turkey tail, sorghum seed, lavender, Patsy's black tea, tobacco, magic beans, indigo flower, grasses, and many more. A cohort of hands will come together to paste the sap, knead the cob, and rub medicines into the heart of bear. A journey is made from home to bear, to mountain, to brook, to downriver, to waterside, where the flow is interrupted by the disregard of water's rights and the misuse of land as fill. This place has become an interface between land and water that is human-made. This urban beach is open, public, and accessible. It is treasured by some, yet it is still uncared for. It is abandoned, neglected, and used for refuse. To visit this beach, you must walk over rubble, barbed wire fences, and tales of greedy infrastructure, both past and present. These are alive places of unmended lands, peoples, and histories. A place to bring your rats you didn't have the courage to kill. A drive-through to an ocean view. Waterside is a place among many that needs care and attention. It needs reconciliation and transformation. Bear is wounded, full of grief. Remember, woman who fights is bare. Bare skin. Transformation. My relationships to plants are sincere and nurturing. Their stories are rich and generous. They offer their knowing and being freely. It is this vulnerability that is often the easiest to dismiss, avoid, or overlook. Alders are often overlooked and disrespected, yet they are the first to heal wounded lands. The alder is the tree of fire. It is able to resist the decaying powers of water and can flourish in the wettest of places. It is therefore a symbol of staying power, durability, persistence, and steadfastness. We harvest from roadsides and trails, uncared for places of access and overuse. We carry heavy, awkward bundles and praise their gifts. This is our communion with plants and place. Through risk and vulnerability, labor, resilience, and devotion to each other, we collaborate as a caring ecosystem. It is an ecology of kin and support that come together to weave possible worlds. We wrangle the alders together, push, pull, embrace gifts of land, to wrangle with oneself into wholeness. Alder's resilience and joy heals land and heart, weaving alders to heal bear. Bear is spirit, the great fullness of the wild god, presence, imminence, death, decay, a fall, an urgency in contrast to all senses, woman in bearskin. Together it took 3 days to build the portal. On the first we wove the structure, all hands in. On the second the portal was raised and secured in place on the water's edge where it nested itself amongst tidal energies. On the third bear was suspended with alder portal. We celebrated with friends. We feasted from the garden. Raccoon and pumpkin carver made bread, pumpkin soup, beans, and apple dessert delights. We came together to draw tendrils, weave connection lines in the sand with stones, and filled Bear's heart with cob and medicines. The soft, intuitive hearts and keen eyes of Mandy, Sawyer, and Nicole document these moments, capturing light and hands in motion. When stories are lived and told, concentric muscle and tendrils are made. A deepening occurs, and this is how we arrive at a very sacred place, a threshold created through intersections of meaning, practice, intent, time, and space. Given enough space and time, all will live, die, and live again. Bear is a wild god. She is a force of rebellion, renewal, revolution. Fierce life keeper, shapeshifter. Embrace the shift. Exalt oneself, embody with land. Meet the threshold. Grief be to distraction, dismemberment, and placelessness. Grief be to played out stories of dualism. Look around and know life. As Shilo says, listen to moon's plea, go to water, visit often. I grieved the pillaging of mountains, watershed, earth and sea without any feeling. Not seeing a living world is a danger. How do we practice deep living? Perhaps with care and urgency, like meeting Bear in the woods as we gather, weave, entangle, and become more. I am here to learn with Bear. to become two, then one. Bear, spirit, water, soul, earth, body, human, heart. Bear, spirit, water, soul, earth, body, human, heart. Bear, spirit, water, soul, earth. Thank you to all for sowing, watering, and caring for these seeds. Thank you for bringing a sense of wholeness to our communal and personal realities, for the deepening of self-land for one intimate dialogue after another. This project is the first of a series of oil paintings paired with land-based woven plant sculptures. These pieces will be painted in place, incorporating the use of natural materials and mediums which are gathered from the site. There will be more resonating and responding consecrated through living fibers, sculptural vows, a paradox of materiality, and a ritualized feast to commemorate the work, grow the tendrils, and feed all who made it happen. This project began with a commitment to land, water, and in-between spaces, becoming commitment in and of itself for projects to come. A commitment to the collision of worlds, mediums, disciplines, art practices, and inward-outward spaces. Entangling motives. Creating webs of story. Being guided by lived stories, and learning how to move with land. I intend these works to challenge viewers to embody new ways of being with ritual, place, self, and renewal. I wish to continue exploring mediums and exhibition spaces that channel the interconnectedness, animacy, and intimacy of place. Art and land as reciprocity, as one.